This is the International Association of Woodcarvers, and I'm Dave Stetson, and I'm going to play around with a block of wood and a knife this morning and try to show you how I do a human head.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to the International Association of Woodcarvers. Today is Saturday, the 16th of November, 2024, a little bit after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as usual, we appreciate you all coming in to join us today. We hadn't planned on having a meeting today because we didn't have a presenter. And our friend Dave Stetson swooped in and said, "Hey, I'm going to do the show today." So we're going to have Dave on here in a little bit. He's going to do a demonstration for us. Before we get started, though, I'll go through the list of people we've got lined up to do presentations through the end of the year. On the 23rd of November, Tom Parr will be coming in. Again, if you don't know his work, he does miniatures and stuff, and he's over on Instagram, so make sure you check him out. Chris Brickell's going to be on the 30th. I saw he's in the meeting today. Looking forward to hearing about his story and hearing what he has to share with us on the 30th. As of right now, we're going to be off on December the 7th. I don't have a presenter. Plus, I'll be teaching a class down in North Carolina at the barn. But I do have some fillers out. If we can fill that date, we're going to try to do that. On the 14th of December, Jim Feather, who's in with us today, is going to be on. He's going to be doing a demonstration. And then on the 21st of December, Jim Heiser's coming in, and he's going to do a demonstration. So we got quite the lineup coming up. Make sure you tune in every Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this same meeting number, and we will do our best to provide quality content for the woodcarver. And again, as always, all of our videos are out on YouTube under International Association of Woodcarvers. So if you're looking for something that we've done in the past, make sure you go out, check out our channel, like and subscribe it there, and hopefully there's content out there that'll help you progress as a carver. Tell you a little bit about some classes that are going on. Dave Stetson started his bear class today. If you're not in that class, you're missing out on a good one. We had a good time this morning. It's going to run through next weekend, but he'll have some other classes coming up. So if you're, again, not participating in that, make sure you get signed up for another one of Dave's class. Dwayne Gosnell's got a class coming up on December the 10th, carving a Viking. And then Ryan Olson has a class starting January the 11th, carving hunks and hotties. And Ryan has reached out to me. Hopefully we're going to be able to get him on to do another demonstration in the very near future. So look forward to that. Today we're going to talk about Woodcarving Academy. I want to remind everybody, go out, check out Woodcarving Academy. You can sign up for a subscription there, 1 month, 3 months, or a year. Dave Stetson has a lot of classes out there. A lot of the other really good carvers are out there on Woodcarving Academy. You can learn at your own pace. So it gives you the opportunity to sign on. You can work on a project, stop, come back to it, rewind, see the cuts. It allows you to see more on the video than you can actually see in a live class. So if you haven't subscribed there, make sure you go out and check that out. Again, it's woodcarvingacademy.com, and we'll be talking more about that later. Before Dave gets started with his demonstration, we're going to turn it over to him and let him share words of wisdom. So, Dave, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Blake. Marc Chagall, famous artist. He was born in 1867, died in 1935. He was 97 years old. But he, talking on creativity, he said, if he creates from his heart, nearly everything works. When he creates from his head, almost nothing. So put your heart into what you're doing. That's what counts. According to Mark.
Thank you. Before we get started with this demonstration, we're going to do an auction today, as we do on a pretty regular basis. I want to shout out to Rich and Holly of Helby Knives. They've been great to donate knives to us. The CCA members have gone out and autographed these at the CCA show out in Colorado, and we auction these off so that we have funds to be able to have these meetings. Again, we continue to pay for a yearly subscription with the maximum availability for Zoom to allow as many people that want to come into these meetings and see live demonstrations, hear more about wood carving and stuff. Today we're going to do a live auction. As usual, put your bids down in the chat. High bid will win. We'll call the bid at the end of the auction, at the end of the meeting, and the highest bidder will win. So today we're auctioning off a PGA Driscoll autographed Helvey Signature Series one knife. Got it right here. There's the autograph. It's actually about a 2.5-inch blade, so it's a nice size blade. Rich Smithson has burnt his logo on the other side, PJ Driscoll, CCA on the bottom, Signature Series 1. If you haven't had the opportunity to get a Helvey, now's your opportunity. You can pick this up today. Again, all the proceeds go to help us continue to have these meetings. So put your bid in the chat. We'll run those bids through the meeting, and I'll call that at the end. So we'll go ahead and accept bids on that now. Again, today we've got in our meeting Dave Stetson. Dave's been one of our biggest supporters since the beginning of these meetings. He always is willing to come on and present anytime we need somebody. He always gives us our words of wisdom. So, Dave, I just want to say thanks again for coming in today and presenting. I know you just came out of a 2-hour class, and now you're going to carve for another hour and a half. So I appreciate what you do, my friend, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Blake. All right, we're going to do a head, and we're just going to put it in this. This is an 1.5-inch block, 1.5-inch square, 4 inches long. I get 3 of them out of a 12-inch stick that Heineke sells them this way, but these came from Randy Moore. Randy has a wood business, if you're not familiar. Randy took over what John Krantz was doing. So good wood. When I do heads on these sticks, I put a little angle on the bottom. It's not a big angle, but it's enough so that when the block sits on the table, it leans back away from you a little bit. So when you're looking down at it, you don't have to squat down to see what the face looks like. It looks up to you a little bit. So there's a little bit of an angle on the block. It leans back slightly, which is hard to see from the angle you're looking at it because you're looking straight down. When I'm going to put a head on a block like this to lay out a head, I give myself the center line from corner to corner, front to back. I like to carve from the outside of the tree in, so I start where the bark was, work myself back into the center of the tree. It's on the back of the head. The important part there is the wood grain when you finish these off. If you're showing the wood grain, like I like to do, you want it to have circular patterns around the round parts of the face, not circles on one side and straight lines on the other. To get this down to a head shape, the heads are deeper than they are wide. So I'm going to approximate the center of each side and connect those centers. So everything to the outside is waste wood. Get rid of that stuff. So I'm just going to get it out of there. Just pull this down to where we can make a head out of this. These sticks work good. Sticks this size work good because the average caricature that we carve is usually, between 7 and 9 inches tall. And these heads go good on a figure that size. So this makes a good place to start. I don't take it all the way down to those lines that are on there. They're kind of guidelines, not lines to necessarily cut to. So it helps me thin that down. I've got some bulk on the back that I don't need. So again, I take half of each of these, connect that. This is all waste wood on the back corner. So just pull that out of there. Now I can think in terms of putting a profile on this. I think I like to start with the head itself. So I'm thinking in terms of the cranium sitting back here, coming down, put a nice Let's put a lot of nose on this guy. Give him a big nose. And then denture mound down here and a chin. So I'm going to get rid of all the excess wood that's sitting in here. I don't need that point because I don't have not doing a bird's beak. If you have questions while I'm doing this, don't be afraid to sing out and let me know. Just have to mute yourself first. That's going to help get me back where I want you to start from. Blake says I've got an hour and a half. We'll see if it takes that long. Probably should. I like to have a bunch of these blocks sitting around waiting for me. So when I start in the morning, it's kind of a warm-up thing for me to do. Give myself a little exercise to loosen myself up. I'm doing an excessively long nose on this guy. Not for any reason other than that I can. So about halfway back, not counting the nose on the head, is about where the front edge of the ear is going to be. And Blake mentioned the Woodcarving Academy. I've got a number of videos on there that will take you through these steps. And then one of the nice things about the Academy is that for about 20 bucks a month, you can have unlimited access to all the videos that are on there, which is a pretty good deal. So that's where my ear's going to be. I'm just going to mess. I could go around this with a V tool, but I'm going to just tackle this one with a knife today.
Hey, Dave, there's a question in the chat. Betty wants you to explain how you determine the bark side versus heartwood direction of the wood that you're carving. So how do you determine?
Look at the tree rings, the growth rings in here. So you can't see it with the bandsaw leaves a rough edge, but if you take your knife and carve through the bandsaw cut, you should be able to see the tree rings. Are they showing up?
Yeah.
Maybe if I spit on it. That's not showing up any better, is it?
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, you
Trust
can.
me, I can see it if you can't.
Yeah, you can. We can see it.
All right. The other thing you can do is I like the closer they are, the closer it is to the bark, the newer the wood is. In other words, that's the latest growth on the tree. And if you get close enough to the bark, you see this little darker edge right here. That's the cambium layer between the bark and the wood. So if you see that cambium layer on the corner of your block, those are the ones I grab. So there's a lot of ways you can determine that, but pretty much, the growth rings on the tree add on wood every year. And the better the growing season, the wider the growth rings. And the wider the growth rings, the weaker the wood. So your tight growth rings generally represent a stronger piece of wood. And I'm not speaking as an expert in the matter. It's just what I've picked up over the years from people that seemingly know what they're talking about. I'm just kind of setting these ears in there so I'll know what to leave. So I don't want to carve the ears off. Just let my knife do all that. I like a knife that's got a little more blade to it than what most carvers like. Um, this knife was made by Janet Cordell's son, Cameron, and I've been using it. I've got some Helvies around here that I was using, but I found out that Cameron was making Janet's knives, and he puts a longer blade on there. Janet likes bigger tools too. Um, and this blade is, I was going to tell you how long it is, and I don't have my ruler here. This is the third time I've lost my ruler this morning, and I haven't gone anywhere. How the hell can you do that? Well, buried under something somewhere. It's about 2.5 inches long, so it's longer than what most carvers are going to use. Uh, the good part of that is that it reaches. The bad part of it is that it reaches, so it can reach beyond the wood to your fingers or your hand that's holding the wood. So that's the bad part of it. Come down here and figure out where the chin's going to be on this guy. And I always like to add a neck to my carvings. Um, a lot of carvers don't put necks on their carvings, but and they come out just fine. So it's not like you have to put a neck on it, but I like them. And so I like to get in to where the suprasternal notch is. That's where the neck and the chest come together. And I'm going to say that point would be right down about in, well, I'm going to get rid of some of this excess wood first. And I'll set that suprasternal notch right down about in here somewhere. So that's where your neck meets your sternum, your breastplate. And set the back of the cranium here, about centered on the ears. And I'm not going to worry about hair on this guy. So he's just going to be a bald-headed guy. And no, it's not a self-portrait. Um, so I got, here's the eye line and the base of the nose. Half of that is a cheekbone. So we got an eye line, base of the nose, the cheekbone. So from the cheekbone up to the eye line, we can round some of that in. Come down toward the jawbone. And we're going to focus on the area that gets ignored a lot. And that's the area of the jaw and the chin. So I want to focus on my jawline and the chin with this piece. And when I'm doing a head just to play around or practice or just messing with a block of wood, I like to have something to think about, something to focus on when I'm doing it. So that's the focal point of this head is going to be the chin and the jawline. All right, maybe get back to that suprasternal notch and get this neck going the right way. That's what's supporting everything else on this guy. So I want that neck coming off at an angle. So I've got a lot of excess up here under the chin that I don't need. So I'm just going to come in here with a gouge and pull some of that out of the way. I haven't sharpened my knife since the class this morning. So I've already carved two bears with this knife since I sharpened it.
Hey, Dave, we got another question in the chat. Somebody wants to know if you're carving a miniature Bob Hershey bust since he's bald.
No, no, it's not a Bob Hershey. Um, I got enough wood for a beard, though. I could.
Yep. And then John Nelson's asking what size gouge were you using there underneath the chin?
This is a Dobbs Ford 16D. It's a brand new one. Um, I found it when I was digging for some stuff. And the one I've been using for the past uh, umpteen years is sitting right here. So that's how much in 25 years, that's how much it wore down. That's not bad for 25 years. Figuring it's a tool I use daily. Um, Good steel. Yeah, but this one was brand new, right out of the wrapper. I've only been using it for about a month, and I haven't been doing that much carving this past month. So
Hey, Dave,
no,
how many classes would you say that you have on Wood Carving Academy?
gosh, I have no idea. I haven't counted. Um, Somebody could go on there and check, maybe. I don't know. Um, the the academy, just a little background for those of you who may be interested. And if you're not interested, you're going to have to hear it anyway if you stay tuned in. But when when we started doing the online classes back when the pandemic hit, um, I asked Yaron if he would be able to help me, and he was very gracious and kind and did, and has been ever since we started. Um, and we started out doing it with Zoom. And the thing with Zoom is that when you record a meeting with Zoom, you can save it, and it doesn't cost you anything to save it. So first class went fine, but when we did the second class and he went to save it, it was like, wait a minute, you already got a class saved, what, or a meeting saved. You're not going to be able to save another one yet. There's only so much room for all these Zoom meetings out there. So they want you to erase one before you do another. So Euron says, wow, this isn't going to work out. So he buried it on YouTube. Um, so you could only find it if you knew it was there or you happened to stumble on it. And in the meantime, he found a website that was available, a domain name that was available for the Woodcarving Academy. He said, we're all set now. So he created the website, and then Janet asked me, she said, I understand you're doing some online classes. And I said, yeah. So I told her I'd help her any way I could. So she's asking me questions. And then the dreaded question came up. How do you record? How do you save your recordings? I said, I don't have a clue how to do that. I said, I got somebody that's doing it for me. Turns out she knew Yaron, and so now there was two of us on there, and it's been growing.
And Dave, it looks like you have over 15 classes and like 21 sessions that you have available on there right now.
Okay. I don't spend a whole lot of time looking at them. I probably should. Maybe it would help me improve a little bit if I watched what I was doing.
I
See what
mean, you're a pretty good teacher, so going back and looking at your work might help you. No,
thanks. I need all the help I can get. Believe me.
well, there is this Dave Stetson guy that teaches on there. So if you want to go on
I
Wood
just
Carving
don't.
Academy, I'll get you hooked up there.
I I've got some experience carving,
Oh,
But when it comes to technology, I got zilch nothing. I'm trying to keep a cranium back here. And then I want to focus on the jaw and and the chin. So I'm holding back a little bit here. Hopefully I got more than I need. So I'm gonna have a chin coming down here. And then I'm gonna let that chin be a dominant feature. If I create that chin here, now I want the chin to be longer, so I'm going to pull the jawline back, pull it up a little bit so that the chin is a separate entity from the jawline. This is more of a cartoony type of chin, I'm thinking, maybe. Like I said, I try to do about one of these a day. And some days I do more, but generally about one a day. So they start to add up and they start to take up a lot of space here in the shop. The boxes that are holding these things taking up a lot of room. So last year, I didn't do it this year. I didn't get back to Colorado Springs, but last year I showed up with about 300 heads and we gave them away. And it was weird. I'd never tried that before. It's not easy to give stuff away. It's surprising. People think there's a catch. Somebody's looking at it and says they like it. And I say, well, if you can have it if you like it. Uh, for how much? I'm not talking about charging you. I'm just going to give it to you if you like it. And they almost walked off with the bottom would walk away without taking anything. It was hard to get rid of it.
I got a question for you.
Fire away.
How do you cut those blocks? Do you have a jig that you whack them in the on the
I,
bandsaw?
I have a bandsaw and I measure 4 inches from each end, and that leaves me with 4 inches in the middle.
But the
I do
angle
have I do have a jig. I do have a jig to make this bottom cut.
that's
After
what I
I,
wondered.
yeah, I made a jig just because I haven't always done that, but I wanted to do a bunch of them at once. So it was just easier to make a jig and put that angle on there. I think I got a little more jaw sticking out here than I want. It's bringing it back into the world of reality, maybe a little more. Um, doesn't have to stick out that far, but so Let's see if I can set some eye mounds in here. What I'm going to do is get deep on the inside corner. This is about the deepest part on the face of a head when you're looking at it, is right here where the eye and the nose come together. So if that's the deepest point, and caricature, if it's big, you make it bigger. If it's deep, you cut it deeper. Just as a general rule of thumb. Come around the corner here. Working my way back into, get deep on that inside corner next to the nose, and then work my way back into an eyeball, which is going to be this mass right here under the brow. If I can get it on one side, see if I can get it on the other. Brow to come across. Magical eye cuts. Coming across the cheekbone right here. Back up to the eyeball. I should slow down and make these cuts cleaner. Okay. So if I put an eyelid on this thing, brows are key. Want to not want to emphasize the brow as much as I can, because that's your expression. The brow, the other place is the corner of the mouth. So corners of the mouth, depending on what the mouth is doing, we'll just kind of give him a smile, kind of a off to one side. So let's set that corner of the mouth here. I'm just taking a little triangular cutout there for the corner of the mouth. We'll do another one over here. Get some of this out of here. Now we're getting back toward the teeth. Now this lets me know where my nasolabial fold has to go. That's your smile line. So I'm going to bring it down, and then I'm going to bring it around the corner of the mouth here down the nostril, up around the corner of the mouth. You don't get too carried away with this. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm looking for things. There was an artist who was teaching in the LA Arts Institute. Last name was Riley, and he developed a method for drawing in faces, and it's known as the Riley method. And he talks about a line that goes from the ear to the edge of the nostril and ends at the corner of the mouth, and another secondary line that comes down. And under that secondary line, that kind of indicates where your cheekbone is, your zygomatic arch, which would sit right back in here. And so if you want to hollow out your cheek and you know about the Riley method, it tells you exactly where you make that cut to hollow the cheek. The same thing would happen over here. So once I set that cheekbone in there, and there's so many carvers, damn good carvers, I might add, who don't deal with any of that. That's all just extra fluff that gets in the way of their creativity. And I find that maybe because I don't share their ability, I'm not as good as they are, that I need to have all those little ideas, all those little rules that'll help me create a face or a head that's correct, that looks good when I'm done, I hope. Oops. A little too bold with my cut right there, so I lost part of that. Coming in right here tells me exactly where I need to hollow that cheek. Then we can come in and actually put jowls on this guy if we want to. Let's give him some teeth first. Set the bottom lip. I forget to look up. I don't know how many. Holy smokes, we got 94 people on here. Anybody know somebody? Call them up and get them on. We get 6 more. We get a special prize. We get 100 people. I give this away to somebody.
Hey, Dave. So there's a question in the chat. Somebody wants to know if you sell your carvings anywhere online.
I haven't yet. I have not. Doesn't mean I won't or can't or haven't thought about it. It just hasn't happened yet. I have to find a helper to do that.
If somebody sees something that they're interested in, can they reach out to you by email?
Sure. My email's all over the place. It's on the Woodcarving Academy, since that's what we're trying to promote here today. If you see something you want, let me know. I'll tell you how much it is, and it'll be too much. And then we can negotiate from there. Or not. Depends on how nice you are. I don't like for assholes to have my carvings. It's enough that an asshole carved it. You don't need to leave it with an asshole. So if you're nice, we'll see that you get it. I'm not liking the way that's starting out, so let's see what happens. Let's try. Maybe it'll look better if I put a lip under here. Push that chin back a little more. No, a lot of what I do um is based on things that I picked up, little things I picked up on with regard to the Riley method, um, the Loomis method. They're just drawing ways of drawing the head. It's all ways of seeing the head. Um, I think maybe where I'm at right now, I got more uh, influence from Tom Richmond. And Tom was a illustrator, an artist for caricature artist for Mad Magazine. And he's been around the country. Several people have taken classes from him. Um, some of you I saw on here earlier um, know about Tom and the classes he's been teaching. One of the interesting things about the class with Tom, when he started the class, one of the first statements he made was, "I'm not here to you're taking a class from an artist who's you're trying to learn how to draw." And he says, "I'm not here to teach you how to draw. I'm here to teach you how to see." And and that was probably um, one of the most accurate things he told us the whole weekend that we were carving with him. He was teaching us how to see. If you see the subject, your eye can perceive what it is. There's nothing to hold you back from drawing it. Drawing is nothing more than just taking an instrument that leaves a line and putting it on a piece of paper or block of wood and moving it around. And I'm not super excited with the way this thing's coming out. So, but if you heard my word of wisdom last week, no matter what this turns out to be, it's not a failure. It's just a stepping stone to being more successful the next time. And the more you carve, the more success you have. So if you don't like the way something's looking, you don't like the way it's turning out, don't give up until you run out of wood.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
I got a movie for you on seeing.
On what?
On seeing.
Seeing.
Seeing
Oh,
is your subject. It's
oh. Helen
it,
Keller?
no, no. This is a good story, and it's a story about a little boy and a camera. And the camera doesn't work, but he learns how to use it, and then he gets one that's fixed. And you got to wait till the end, and when you see it at the end, you'll fall for it. It's called Camera.
Um, Tom, you weren't in sales, were you?
No, but
No, you wouldn't do well.
I know what you do. You sit down at night and you sit and put your feet up and watch a movie or do something like that. You might like this.
What's the name of it?
Camera, like a camera.
Yeah.
Bo Bridges is one of the and a little boy. I don't remember what his name was. Miguel something.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on
On Prime.
Prime Video.
Me and Prime are currently at odds. You order something on Amazon and they tell you if you subscribe to Prime, it doesn't cost you anything for shipping. And you think, oh, that's a good idea. So you sign up for Prime. And then once you do that, then you get Prime Video because you're a Prime subscriber. And they don't charge you initially because you ordered something that was delivered by Prime. And then all of a sudden they start charging you 16, 17 bucks a month.
Yeah, but you did get to watch the Eagles.
Oh my God. I did. I did. I'm not sure it was worth that. I think I could, well, no, not today you can't. I was going to say I probably could have got a ticket to watch the game for less money than what I'm paying for Prime, but no, not today. Don't let me get you started, Bob. I'm sorry.
Sorry I brought it up. I just liked the movie. I watched it last night.
I'll have to check it out. I like Bridges. He's a good actor.
Oh, and this little boy that he was great. It's an outstanding story.
Bridges got his start on Sea Hunt with his dad. So I put a little mascara on the eyelid, the upper eyelid, down to the inside corner. I draw in a pupil.
Another question in the chat, Dave. Somebody wants to know how close to the actual carving is what you thought the carving was going to be or going to look like. In other words, did
Um,
you have a preconceived idea of what you wanted to carve when
I
you got
really
started?
didn't. I really didn't. I was going to focus on the chin and the jawline, which is this area down in here, which is what I usually ignore. Most of us tend to ignore that, I think. Once we get the eyes and the nose and the mouth in, everything else just kind of falls over the edge and goes down to maybe the suprasternal notch or something. So I wanted to create something in this jawline area. That was the only thing I had in mind when I started this head. So I wanted to keep the cranium small, um, so that I could focus on that other area. I could do something with the ear here, maybe.
Another question, Dave. I know at one point you added on wood to the sides of the head to have enough wood for the ears. Was there a benefit in doing that as compared to the way you've done it today?
Um, no, no, I used to play around with that just to see what would happen. When I lay the head out and I look at it from the top view, depending on the type of head I'm trying to carve, um, it may look like, gosh, if I just had a little more wood out there instead of doing it from a stick, if I did it from a block that had some size or dimension to it, it would give me more to work with. Um, but that it doesn't always help. Generally, just fudging in where you need to kind of get you through it. So he's got no hair, but we can give him eyebrows if we work through it fast enough. Ah, oops. Oh, I lost it. Got away from me. I just knocked his brow off. What happens when you get in a hurry and your knife starts to get a little bit dull. So when it cuts into the wood, it forces the wood fibers apart more than what it has been. Another reason you want to keep stropping your knife. So let's just give him a little bag under his eye here.
Looks like Keith has his hand raised. Keith, you have a question? Might be an error.
So if I knock the brow off up here, so you don't look so much up there at the brow, I put a nice bag under his eye here. So that'll pull your eye down to this area. Probably should put one on this side if I'm putting one over there. Bag's a little heavier on the outside than it is on the inside, usually. There's exceptions to everything.
So a couple more questions, Dave. Do you have advice as far as carving to minimize fuzzies?
I'm not the one to ask. My best friend, Steve Prescott, he always give me a bunch of shit about carving fuzzies. It'd be too bad if you didn't have so many fuzzies on there. I said, well, it was fuzzies was the thing I would get in trouble for, and carving cute. See, Steve learned to carve from Claude. Claude Bolton was Steve's primary mentor starting out. And Claude was a stickler for doing clean carvings. I came along and Steve was trying to educate me. Not that I couldn't be educated, as just that it was just a thing among friends, you know. You always give your friends more grief than they deserve just because you can. Um, and Steve would always give me a bunch of crap about how rough I carved. Claude was you make a cut once and you make it correct, you don't have to go back over it. Well, I always had to go back over it. Always. It's just the way I learned to carve. Not too many of us have the advantage of learning to carve from somebody like Claude Bolton. Claude was a more of a master than he realized. Just a really, really great guy, great carver. But he had some hangups. When you carve a boot, you put 13 folds in the top of that boot. That was Claude's thing. He had a certain way of carving heads, and I was not that disciplined. Listen to me, the one who's telling you about the Riley method and the Loomis method.
Another question, they want to know what kind of paint you use when you're painting your carvings, and they want to know about when you use boiled linseed oil.
I use boiled linseed oil on my carvings as soon as I'm done carving them. sometimes I go back and carve them a little more after I put the boiled linseed oil on them, but that's because when you start painting and coating your carving with the oil, you notice things that you didn't see when you were carving it. So yeah, I paint with acrylics. I paint with washes. I build up layers of color slowly. I learned that from Michelle. Michelle was a master at painting. She she learned to paint from some of the finer toll painters in the country. Um, and she did some amazing things with paint. So but yeah, it's basically watered down acrylic washes that I put on my carvings after I put boiled linseed oil on there. What it is you we we would see other people's carvings that we admired, you know. We'd see the finish that they put on them. And we'd ask how they finished them and what they used. And a lot of times people were kind of protective of the techniques that they had because felt like that was their advantage. And if they showed everybody how they're doing it, then they're going to be able to do it. And then that's going to be more competition for them. And as an artist, uh, competition should be something that drives you to be better than you are. Unfortunately, not all of them see it that way. They see it as competition that takes away sales from that they would otherwise have. So no, I've just never seen it that way. Competition is just something that would drive me to be better than I am. And I'm not ever very happy with what I've done. I'm always finding a way to improve it or make it better. Um, that's what keeps me going. But yeah, to answer your question, it's acrylics on oil. And I know acrylics and oil don't mix, but your wood is porous enough that even though you've oiled it, there's still enough porosity in the wood that it's going to let washes soak down in and get down into the wood fibers. Oh, he almost looks angry now. I wasn't out to create an angry guy. So this is what I ended up with. So I'll send this guy off to Blake and Dave, and they can decide what they want to do with it. They might keep it for themselves, or they might donate it to somebody. So this will be for the International Association of
Just
Woodcarvers.
carved my old elementary school principal.
What was that?
I think you just carved my old elementary school principal.
Your elementary school principal.
Yeah,
Who is talking right now?
Laura.
Laura.
Hmm.
I didn't know him, but yeah. sometimes that's what happens.
Pull down just a hair and get it in center so we can see that.
Oh,
there you go.
sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
So it just yeah, just a head, but we focused on the chin and the jawline just to create something with more interest. We kind of ignored the head. I think the head might have been better if I'd left the brow there. Could even push this chin back a little more. It might be a little too strong, huh? See what happens if we pull it back. You don't know until you try.
While you're finishing up there, Dave, I'll just remind everybody a few more minutes on the knife auction. We'll be in that here shortly. So if you want to bid on it, please go ahead and put that in the chat. All proceeds will go to benefit the IAWC.
Yeah, if that's one of PJ's knives. What's the bid up to, Blake?
We're at 225 right now.
A fine opportunity. I know some of you guys have got deep pockets. I know some of you ladies here have deep pockets because you have generous husbands. All right. There's no more questions. There's no more carving. What's the date today? The 16th.
Yep.
11/16/24. So date them and sign them. I haven't always done that. Sometimes I forget. But we got that taken care of. And I got nothing else to say. And
All right.
I've run out of wood to carve on.
Well, Dave, as always, it's been a pleasure to sit and watch one of what I assume, or I feel like you're one of the masters in my book. So it's always nice to sit and watch you carve, and it's amazing what you can produce in an hour and 15 minutes. It'd take the rest of us probably 3 weeks to be able to do anything close to that. So thank you for volunteering to come in and present for us today, and thanks for all you do for wood carving. I know you put in a lot of work to encourage people and to share with the community, and a lot of free content out there. And again, I just want to say thank you for doing that, Dave. We really appreciate it.
Hey, you're very welcome. Thank you.
I will go ahead and call the auction. It looks as though the bid is at 225. iPhone, I think, is John Stewart. So, John, if you'll stay in the meeting here, we'll settle all that up with you and get the knife out to you this week. Just want to remind you all, next weekend we'll have Tom Parr in. He's probably unknown to a lot of the carving community in our area. He's from the United Kingdom. If you want to check out his work, it's out on Instagram. Tom_Parr is his handle there on Instagram. So go out and check him out. He'll be in to do a demonstration with us next Saturday. Again, I want to thank you all for coming on today. If you're in Dave's class, make sure you tune in tomorrow for his class, second part of the bear carving class. And if you're missing that, try to get into another one of his classes. You'll be glad that you did. So thank you all for joining us on the International Association of Woodcarvers. We will see you all next Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all.
Quick intro here. So you know the drill, you know what to do whenever you want to do it. It's all you.
Mm-hmm. What was I supposed to say?
Your name,
Our
Name, rank,
name.
and serial number?
that right,
Yep.
serial number, credit card. So no,
Birthday, blood type.
just name and what you're doing today, and then welcome to International Association of Woodcarvers.
Sergeant Stetson, RA 189517557.
Woo! You never forget that number, do you?
You don't.
Yeah,
You
I've heard
don't. So
perfect.
That works.